there's always that old excuse here, this is not the time to do a picture like that, you know. The public doesn't want it now. Well, I don't think the public knows what they want until they see it. You know, I really, really think it's exactly like saying to your child, what would you like for dinner? You don't know till they see it. The public can't say what they want to see. It's up to us to decide and hope to God they like it, you know.
You have courage of your convictions. You have courage to say what you want to say.
I never said anything was unprintable. I never said anything just for the sake of being, you know, startling. There were always just opinions about things that one encountered as one went through life, you know. But I was always terribly outspoken and just always said what I thought in as much as I knew about it, you know. They say that in Hollywood one can't do that, but I think honesty counts in Hollywood just as much as it does anywhere else. I think it's just too much trouble to be dishonest and keep up with yourself, you know. The simpler road to just say what you think. Then you haven't got to always check as to what you said to one person, what you said to another. I think this would be exhausting, actually. One can be respected for the truth in Hollywood just as much as anywhere else, you know, or else I wouldn't have had a career.
Do you feel that being, let's forget modesty and let's be honest, do you feel that having a certain amount of intelligence as you do is sometimes a hindrance in your field?
The female, I think it's a terrible hindrance in business. You know, I think it's a terrible hindrance for any female to have a lot of intelligence in private life, but I think in business sometimes it's even worse. I think there's deep resentment, no question about it, from the male side of the business. We all work for men, you know, they're the people in charge, and I think they find women easier who haven't the ability to think for themselves and stand up for themselves. One can make more enemies as a female with a brain, I think, no question about that, among the opposite sex. But I don't think in business it matters whether you're a man or a woman if you can do your job and have a brain.
Well, Bette Davis, when you come home from a studio after having to fight in a man's world, was it difficult to come home and then really be a woman, you know?
No, because whether it was difficult or not, I worked very hard at it. And I think I worked much too hard at it, you know, because I went way overboard the other way of proving I was definitely just a female and trying to divide up the two. And of course it should never be attempted because it cannot be done. It's impossible. It's too much work. It's ridiculous, you know, but I must say I did try. Because I believe one should be a woman at home, you know, and actually, I think business women are better women at home, if you want to know the truth, because you do understand what goes into a day's work out in the world. It's a very nerve-wracking affair. And that's what life boils down to in the long run anyway. That's all marriage is a great, great, wonderful communion of interest and a friendship. They don't seem to want it to be that simple. I don't know. I think men have got to change an awful lot. I think somehow they still prefer the little woman. They're just staying way, way behind. And so as a result, I think millions of women are very happy to be by themselves. They're so bored with the whole business of, you know, trying to be the little woman. When no such thing really exists anymore. It just simply doesn't, because the world's gone way beyond it. You know, and the real female should be partly male, and the real male should be partly female anyway. So if you ever run into that in either sex, you run into something very, very fine, I think.
We'll have to start a whole new sex.
Well, there is a new sex starting, I think. There's neither man nor woman. It's a very independent male creature that lives alone. And a lot of independent females who live alone. It's all very sad. But it's much easier for both sexes to do it this way nowadays. And I often have said, you know, if men find out how to give birth to children, they'll never propose again. You know, it's really the way the world is going. No question about it.
You're not supposed to speak ill of the dead, but Earl Blackwell finally died. And I was on his blacklist every year for being the worst dressed person.
Oh, is he some sort of like society columnist or something?
List every year is the worst dressed people in America. I was regular on that list. Anyway. that was relentless for me here was How You Look. I just can't, I couldn't put up with it. I mean, it just drove me crazy.
But you chose a whole career that is pretty concerned with that stuff.
It wasn't the career I chose. The career I chose was a drama major in college, where at Yale, when I was, I played a 90-year-old woman, one of my most celebrated roles. And then I played a really fat person, and I played a lot of different things, and that's how I thought I loved to wrangle my talent, my need to express myself. I like to do it that way. I never thought I was somebody that would be on the cover of magazines in fashions, wearing fashions. It's just like not me. But that is what movie stardom entails. I always wore my own clothes a lot of the time in interviews. In the marketing of the movie, I could.
Are these your own clothes?
Actually, this is not. These are mine. These shoes are mine. But I got famous before you had to do all this stuff. I went up for King Kong. I remember that.
That would have been
Jessica
fun.
Lange's part. Dino De Laurentiis. He was sitting there. He was meeting all these girls. And I came in, and I had really tried to look nice. His son was sitting in the room, and Dino spoke to him in Italian. I know Italian. I studied Italian. So he said, "Why don't you send me this pig? This woman, she's so ugly. Brutta,
Oh no!
So I looked at him and I said, "Mi dispiace molto, ma."
What does that mean?
I said, "I'm very sorry that I disappointed you, but..."
Jesus Christ.
Because they're so used to treating girls like bimbos. Of course, he would never imagine that a blonde person would speak Italian. I found my knitting bag just last week, and in it was a half-finished sweater for a boyfriend, long gone, and the knitting book, the knitting pattern, which was in Women's Day magazine, 1967. And I looked through this magazine, and I couldn't believe it. I showed it to my daughters, and they were screaming. Because second page, great big ad, join the only profession where you can make as much as a man. Be an accountant. Yeah. And there was a column called What Men Say About Women, and the worst thing that a man can do to a woman is to let her get on top. They ask us in so many different ways not to let them. And if we don't, they're happier and we're happier. Oh, God. It's just a really different world. It's hard to explain that to people. Sometimes you look out the window, you look at all the windows. You think inside every single one of them is somebody with some huge, weird, terrible problem. Some great jokes. There's a lot of lives worth embodying. I mean, it's very exhilarating to step into somebody else's shoes. It's very humbling to imagine somebody else's really life and their pain. It's my drug.
What do you do, Ms. Dietrich, to keep from succumbing to the adulation? Because you've had it for a good number of years. Some people almost
Well, I think
worship.
if you have any sort of intelligence, you can't succumb to adoration, because people adore so many things. They also adore things that you think quite worthless, so you can't take it too seriously.
There are some actresses who, as they become older, they still keep trying to be that ingenue. Do you begrudge these years?
No, God, no. Why should I? I think irrevocable things you cannot begrudge. If you have any bit of intelligence.
You don't begrudge what you can't do anything about.
That's right. America has a youth complex. And particularly with me, they adore to make me older. And I don't see why they should do that, because it's bad enough as it is. But maybe it looks better in print, you know, if I'm 102 and I still walk on the stage and I'm not on crutches. It becomes rather sick, but the youth cult is quite bad. You don't have that in Europe at all. Because I think it is because America still thinks that it's a young nation. I don't think it is. It should stop that. I think they have been young long enough. They should grow up.
It could be said that you have been a sex symbol, Marilyn Monroe, sex symbol, and so on. You use it, you have used it in the past for a purpose.
Well, I have never used my body. I have played roles where the legs were used and the body was used, but in life I have never done that.
The exploitation stayed with the screen and nothing else.
That is right.
You're the kind of person that a lot of men would like to have loved or felt they have loved. Do you think the nature of love is something that's changing? For example, now the hippie says, I want love, you know, and they say love and peace.
I think the real love has not changed at all. If people call all sorts of relationships love, they know themselves that it isn't so, but they say it in order to make it valuable, in order to make it allowed. You know, when a girl says, but I love him, in order to say that's why I live with him, that's not necessarily so, because the real love has not changed. And the one great love that will never change is mother love.
How do you relax?
I don't think I do. You see, in our language, in German or in French, there is no such word as relax. This is an American invention. We don't have the feeling like the American has. Now it's 7 o'clock or something and I have to have a drink and relax. You know, it's not a necessity in Europe. He drinks because he likes to drink. The success in America means a lot to a man and means a lot to his wife and the family. There's a general belief that success is synonymous with happiness. Well, it doesn't, as you know. They don't go together at all. The American is striving for success and works much too hard in order to get whatever, a little more money or a raise or something. And he loses out on all the pleasures of life because of that. In Europe, they have a car and they have it 15 years and they polish it and they wash it and they love it. But here people don't love their cars because they know next year they're going to get another one. And then everything is on credit. They don't own it. And then you buy many more things than you need because it's on credit. And it doesn't bring them happiness. It just doesn't. Possessions do not make you happy.